This is YSM Sports Media. Want to thank you for all your love and support. Really appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and click the notification button for all future content.
Him and Stipe could kind of swap for that 4 and 5 position, but like top 3, you gotta have Amanda Nunes, John Jones, and Izzy. You gotta have them as your top 3. You got 2 GOATs on the list, and then you got Izzy, who's just the hottest thing in MMA right now. It's hard to do that, but Usman's definitely top 5, 100%. He's top 3 welterweight of all time right now, in my opinion.
Yeah,
top 3 right now. Yeah.
Who's the 3?
3 would be obviously GSP, Matt Hughes, and Usman. People like to discredit what Matt Hughes did, but it's like,
where would you rank Woodley? What, 5, top 5?
Woodley, yeah, he's not. He could be a solid number 5. He could be number 5. Woodley could be number 5. He could be 5 or 4. Because you got to throw Robbie. You got to throw Robbie into the mix. Robbie was a champion and he held it down.
I feel like Woodley's run was better than Robbie's though.
Because he got beat by Woodley. But I mean, Robbie's was more exciting. That's all that was. Robbie's was more exciting. But like I said, they could flip. It's kind of how you
drop off, bro.
Yeah.
You lose points. Like, I give you props for your run, but your drop off, you lose points for your drop off. Yeah.
Man, I disagree. You can't look because careers come in phases. It's like you have like a perfect example is Conor, and like as a fan, because even though I'm a fighter, I'm a fan first. Like I'm a nerd for this shit first, and it's like people are counting Conor out already, and it's like y'all do realize he's Conor McGregor, right? Like y'all do know everything he's done. Like he did what nobody else could even dream of doing in this sport in a very short time span, while not turning anybody down. Like he was a showman. He put on great fights and he took on whoever, wherever, and won across 3 divisions. 4 divisions.
I agree, right? But there's a saying that the fight can be beaten out of you. The fight was paid out of Conor.
Yeah, look, I can agree with all that. At the end of the day, that's an easy place to go to because we're not in his shoes. At the end of the day, what I see is this. I see a guy, especially with this last fight, because Conor never takes rematches. Especially with a guy like he doesn't even defend titles. He has a conqueror mentality. It's like if I won a title, I'm not defending it. I just need to go do the next thing and the next thing. He never does rematches. And I was telling people he was only taking Dustin because he was getting ready for Manny Pacquiao, which he hinted at. And then Dustin Poirier said the same thing. He was like, I think he's only taking me because he wants Pacquiao. Because at the time, you have Paul Felder, who him and Paul had an issue with. Paul's an exciting striker as well. You got Justin Gaethje, who him and Justin Gaethje's had many words, and exciting striker as well. It's he can really fight for that Khabib rematch. Masvidal was in mix. Like you had a bunch of matchups that you hadn't had, which were all going to make you a lot of money, and you took a guy you already beat. And it wasn't for like a title. So I didn't get it. But I know that Dustin Poirier is a strong, high-paced southpaw who throws a lot of punches and bunches and primarily has a boxing style. And I was like, maybe that'll be it. Huh?
Sounds like Pacquiao.
Right. So when I saw that whole mixture, I was like, I think he's taking that fight for Pacquiao. You can check my Twitter. It's backdated before Conor, after the fight said all that. This is like right when the fight got announced. Like, on my Twitter, it was on my IG stories, so I can pull up in archives if anybody want to challenge it. And then when he came out, you saw him super boxing heavy, super heavy. He normally is in that, long karate style, poking with the kicks. He wasn't throwing any kicks really. He came out real heavy in a high guard, which we don't do in MMA, is like strong high guards. With the toes bladed sideways fully, which he doesn't do. And all that being said, people don't want to admit it. He's beating the shit out of Dustin Poirier before he got finished. Like, Poirier admitted he hurt me a couple times in that first round. If you look at the first round, Conor is smacking him with left hands. Yeah, he got a takedown that he didn't do anything with. Conor got right back up and went right back to whooping his ass. Like, I don't understand where all this is. Like, he didn't defend leg kicks. His legs got shut off, and you can't be immobile against Poirier. And he got stuck on one leg against one of the most violent finishers in that division, and he got beat. It was a good win, but all that being said, the only guys that beat him was Nate at 170 that he avenged. Let's remember that he avenged it at 170, didn't even take it at 155, went back up and said, I want to beat him where he beat me, avenged that one. Then it's the Khabib, number 2 GOAT of all time, greatest lightweight of all time, and then Dustin Poirier with a bad game plan, but Dustin Poirier is not a bad guy to fight anyway. Dustin Poirier might be a top 10 lightweight of all time himself. Those are the losses that you have. How all of a sudden you gonna write this guy off? And no fight outside of the Khabib fight was he getting dominated. Even the Diaz loss, he was whooping Diaz's ass, got tired, got caught, and got choked out. This one, he was punching on Dustin Poirier, got that leg shut off, and then got punched out. Like, at no point does he not look like he didn't look like he wasn't in shape. He came in big, strong for it against Poirier. Like, he's clearly taking his training seriously. He came with a bad approach against a good guy. And that just is what it is. That's how it is in a lightweight division. It's called murderer's row. If you make one mistake in a lightweight division, you get beat. That's how it all is with all of them.
People wasn't like shin kicks are hard for southpaws to defend when you're fighting another southpaw?
So the calf kicks, you mean? The calf kicks, it doesn't matter if you're southpaw. You have to be in the same stance to do it. So obviously, if you're a southpaw, you're facing much more orthodox guys. That kick from the lead leg doesn't have as much power because it's not coming all the way from behind. You can't whip it as hard as you need to. And he's fought southpaws before, which people kept saying he didn't fight southpaw. He's fought southpaws, he fought Nate for 7 rounds altogether. So clearly he fought southpaws. And he beat Nate essentially with smashing Nate's legs in those first 2 rounds. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. He just, the calf kick is a new phenomena in MMA, right? It's like we're just starting to see it really take off. Like, we saw it a little bit earlier on with Lorenz Larkins against Neil Magny. That was one of the fights. And you saw Demetrius Johnson against Henry Cejudo. We're talking about when legs shut off, because the leg shuts off. You saw it, Dustin Poirier, when he fought Jim Miller. Jim Miller was able to do it. Dustin Poirier just fought for it. And, of course, Justin Gaethje's entire career, he was known for that. But they never were something where it was just like stopping power. We just started seeing that in the last 3-4 years. Ironically, the calf kicks got popular and super effective during the period where Conor was out. When he was on his run, calf kicks weren't a thing. So why would he think that, for one, you're going against a guy, Dustin Poirier, who primarily is a boxer? He's not really a guy who kicks. He's never been a kicker, ever. Like, ever. All his highlights are him punching on people. And then it's a kick that you've never even had to experience before, which is that low calf kick. You weren't around when it happened. Nobody from your team was even fighting in the UFC when it was going on. So there's no reason for them to be doing it. And your original MMA team you weren't even with. You were with the Crumbling Boxing, your original boxing coaches, which was also a tell that if you're training with your original boxing coaches for an MMA fight, you're probably getting ready for a boxing match. So it's like all that came into play. And all that being said, outside of the calf kicks, he was still beating Dustin Poirier. So I think that whole, like, it's hard to wake up on silk sheets. It's like, yes, that could be a thing, but we haven't seen Conor get ran over yet. We haven't seen it like where he just got smashed by a guy he wasn't supposed to beat. You feel me? Like if he got beat by like a Dan Hooker, it's like Dan Hooker's fight, a good fighter, but he's not on that level at all. You feel me? Like if he lost to a Dustin Poirier or Justin Gaethje or Tony Ferguson or Charles Oliveira with a bad game plan, that's the lightweight division. Is that deep? Any one of those guys can be a champion on any given day. You had the wrong game plan against a great guy. And it's just everyone's trying to write him off like because he's rich, he's doing that. Like, I don't see the signs of it. He came in sharp. He came in strong. He looked in fantastic shape, made the weight easy, was in there punching on him, was reacting to things. He got taken down, got right back up. He didn't look tired in that second round. And what part of it? Like, he got beat. That's what happens is MMA is so many ways to lose in MMA. It's not like boxing, like where it's like, you have to avoid these hands for 12 rounds and then try to figure it out. It's like it's so many ways to lose in MMA that if you fuck up in one aspect against a good guy, you're going to lose. It just is what it is.
Okay.
Conor, you owe me money because I've been holding you down out here. Don't fuck up. Same thing with Carl Usman. I've been holding you down. And Jorge Masvidal, I know I'll be talking shit about you. But first of all, I put so many people onto you, Jorge Masvidal, and I fuck with you real heavy. But you cannot be demanding like money that you don't deserve. You can't be campaigning like you're this uncrowned champ because you're not. At the end of the day, Masvidal, as much as your fans don't want to hear it, and I've been getting backlash already, so I don't really give a fuck. You're 7-6 in the last 5 years. You're the only person with a 500 rating record in that top cut. You understand? Carl Usman's 13. In the last 5 years, he had 13 fights. Kobe had 13 fights. Almost everybody had around the same fight. 5 years, you'll have 10 to 15 fights, average about 13 in the UFC. They try to fight you early on. You had 13 fights, and Usman had 13 fights. You went 7-6. He went 13-0. In what sport can you go 7-6 and even talk to a team that's 13-0? They don't exist at all, and no sport. Kobe went 12-1. You went 7-6, and the guys you beat, your marquee wins, which was against Darren Till, which Darren Till is another 500 fighter. I know he has a big name, but he's a win one, lose one, win two, lose two type fighter too. So, and you were getting your ass beat in that fight as well. You just fucking swung some weird shit and you clipped the kid, but you got dropped in that fight bad. You beat Ben Askren, who's like an underdog against Jake Paul and got outboxed by Damian Maia, so no one cares about that. And you beat a over-the-hill Nate Diaz, a very over-the-hill Nate Diaz by doctor stoppage. It wasn't even you who got him out of there. So where in your lineup are you this killer? Like everyone has a better resume than you in that top cut. So calm that shit down. Go fight Leon Edwards or Chimaev or somebody where you can actually, put something on your resume and then start campaigning. But right now it's like your only selling point is that you're a selling point. You pretty much like a YouTube motherfucker at this point. Not in skill-wise, obviously, but in terms of your selling point. Is that you a selling point. And that's no disrespect. It just is what it is. You a hell of a fighter. Obviously, you've been around for a long time, and you've been beating guys for a long time. But when it comes to that top cut, you come up short, and it just is what it is. And you still young. You got time to figure it out and probably be a champion one day. But you're not in the category right now. And that just is what it is. And your fans need to calm the fuck down. Straight like that.
Yo. Hey, yo, we gonna drop the mic on that one, man.
Look, man, it just is what it is. It's like, that's not me being a hater. It's like, we're going to look just at your numbers. It's like, if you were 7-6, but like you went like 3-3 and you lost a couple, but then you won like 5 fights in a row and it was all against top guys. That's a campaign when someone's 7-6 to be like, okay, I'm here, because you're showing momentum. You feel me? It's like you were beating average guys who just happen to have a name. You were beating average guys, well, cut above average, but not like, still not that category. Again, other 500 guys. You were beating them. You fought the champ. You got smoked. And let's make this clear. In those losses that you had, you got dominated. Outside of the Damian Maia fight, which you still lost, you got dominated against Usman. Wonder Boy pretty much was a walk in the park for him. Like, he could have did that all night. You were probably one of his easiest fights ever. Like, when you fought guys who were, top competition, just hasn't looked good for you. You fight a cowboy, knock him out, all of a sudden you feel like you're the king of the world. And it's like, yeah, it's easy to knock out a guy who's a 5-5 type fighter. Like, you don't deserve the money you're trying to get. And I'm sick of this 6 days, this 6-day I had to fight excuse. It's like, it's not the truth. Like, you would talk to any coach. I want you to interview coaches after this and ask them this same question. Something waitlisting. Everybody goes through this. You've been in sports media for a minute, so you know this. If you are a top guy and you don't have a fight booked, when it's a big fight coming up, the promoters will tell you, stay ready in case you have to fill in, right? Everyone knows that's how it go. Masvidal is the hottest thing in the sport right now. Something happens and he has to fill in. What people forget is that he had been on Instagram and on that YouTube channel showing he was already training. Usman wasn't at all.
Yeah, like, all right, perfect example. Kid Avery, right?
Yeah.
All right, Avery ended up fighting Rolly. Avery knew that he was the stand-in for that camp for weeks. And he was training for those two opponents. So you can't say, oh, no, I took the fight on short notice. No, you didn't, because you already had an idea of if one of them tested positive for COVID, you were going to fight. You went out there, you weighed in the whole 9. Like, you were paid specifically to be ready. And if you're paid to be ready, then you're supposed to be ready.
Look, that's how it goes across all sports. You get waitlisted. Everyone knew you was going to be a fill-in if something happened. You know who didn't know who they were fighting? Usman. Usman didn't know he was going to be fighting you. And he had to fight you on 6 days' notice. So how come he can't use that excuse? It's like, you're like, I would have beat him on 6 days' notice. Who says you wouldn't have got beat worse if he had a full camp?
That's a good point.
Like, I hate when fighters use that it was a 6 days' notice thing. It's like, you guys agreed to fight. So there are no excuses. You agreed to fight. You made the weight. You fought and you lost. And whatever you feel like happened beforehand happened to the other fighter as well. He didn't know he was fighting you on 6 days' notice. You didn't know you was fighting him on 6 days' notice, allegedly. And you lost. What you saying is if y'all both pull up, and y'all got a rumble, old school style, don't know who you fighting, you gonna lose to him every time because you only had 6 days. I'm not with it like that. That's where I come from a fighter standpoint. It's like I have a loss on the loss I have on my record. It could be like, yo, I cut 27 pounds right before I fought the same day. And then I can make a bunch of excuses like that. It's like, did I accept the fight? Yeah. Did I know I had a lot of weight to cut because I wasn't in the type of shape I need to be in? Yeah. Did I lose the fight? Yeah. Am I going to sit here and blame it on the weight cut? No. I accepted the fight. I was supposed to stay ready. It's our job to fight. It's our job to be professional athletes. Like I said earlier on when we were talking, if you do something outside of your camp that makes you out of shape or to where you can't get back where you need to be in a week, those are the consequences, especially if you do it and still accept the fight. I don't want to hear that from no fighter. It is what it is. Like, if you hop in there, it is what it is. Just eat the L and keep moving. Because if you won, you would just be like, if you won, it wouldn't be no shit like that at all. It's a built-in excuse, and that's what Usman was saying. I completely agree with him. He only took the fight because it was a built-in excuse. I ain't these other fighters, bro, because I don't fuck with fighters either. So I'm gonna tell you how it is. I ain't trying to have no. I don't need no friends. I got my camp, and that's it. Fuck. I'm gonna tell you exactly how it is, man. Whatever they want to hear, this ain't that.
Yeah, you definitely ethered Jorge Masvidal. But
And that's not saying he's a bad fighter, though.
Yeah, but I can't wait to myself. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we can get to the Izzy Yan thing another time.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that next week. You already gave me so much. Oh man, yeah. Thanks again, though. I appreciate you, man.
Anytime, bro, man. You the only guy that I fuck with like that. I told you I don't even like people like that for real, for real.